Baltimore don't complete high school. A city that has been run for 52 years by the Democrats has a poverty rate of 24%.
America First with Dr. Sebastian Gorka. Afternoons at 3, right before John Steigerwald at 5 on AM 1250. The Answer.
Hey, Colin, nobody cares. Yeah, Colin Kaepernick, he came out with a video yesterday. You see him wearing a shirt provided by that company he endorsed that lots of people are saying they're not going to buy anymore. Anyway, it's just him working out. And at the beginning, he says, ready, up at 5 a.m. every day, working out now for 3 years. Looks good. Looks like he's in great shape. And the idea, obviously, with the exhibition games starting this week, and quarterbacks, by the way, already starting to get hurt, the idea is that the mean old NFL owners should, just sign him up. The Washington Post had a story today about the video, and in the story, I think it was a guy we've actually had on the show before. But anyway, in the story, the writer suggested that it might be a good idea for the Eagles to sign Kaepernick because their backup, Nate Sudfeld, broke his arm last night. And the video is obviously working on the media covering President Trump, most of whom wouldn't be able to identify a football they just wouldn't be able to identify a football. Listen to the question that President Trump got during a meeting with the media today.
In your view, Mr. President, should Colin Kaepernick get an opportunity to play in the NFL?
Only if he's good enough. Yeah, if he's good enough. Yeah, I'm not. Why would he play if he's good enough? And I think if he was good enough, I know the owners. I know Bob Kraft. I know so many of the owners. If he's good enough, they'd sign him. So if he's good enough, I know these people. They would sign him in a heartbeat. They will do anything they can to win games. So I'd like to see it. Frankly, I'd love to see Kaepernick come in if he's good enough. But I don't want to see him come in because somebody thinks it's a good PR move. If he's good enough, he will be in.
Now, of course, the problem is that Kaepernick wasn't that good in his last season or two, and that's why he was a backup instead of a starter. But he'd have to be a can't-miss all-pro coming up for this season to make it make sense for any team to sign him. And the media know it, by the way. Just imagine, I'm talking about the sports media know it. The guys in the people covering the NFL, they know it. Just imagine the circus if the Eagles decided to bring Kaepernick in. They call him up today and say, come on in, Colin, we're going to work you out. And, just for a tryout if they brought him in, let alone put him on the roster. But they bring him in and they sign him. It would be the number one story on every network tonight. Number one story if they had brought him in today. If they do it tomorrow, it'll be the number one story tomorrow. They'll be talking about it on the Sunday shows on Sunday if they brought him in. They'd be talking about an NFL quarterback on Meet the Press, guaranteed. The media frenzy in Philadelphia would be completely it'd just be insane. Every member of the local sports media would be there, that's obvious, and they'd be swarming around. But every TV news operation would have cameras and reporters there too. Everyone from Philadelphia and, of course, Jersey and other places, Delaware. They have a lot of media in Philadelphia. They would be everywhere. And it would obviously be the lead story in Philadelphia. They'd have a packed news conference. The questions would be about football, about for 10 seconds, and then what he thinks he can bring to the team. And the rest would be, what else, about the fiasco caused by his decision to take a knee during the national anthem a couple of years ago. Now, the head coach is Doug Peterson. He's trying to get I don't know what he thinks of Colin Kaepernick and what he thinks about Colin Kaepernick's decision to kneel or any of that, but he's trying to get his team ready for a season. He'd be dragged into that conversation. You think, really? Is there a coach out there, so would every player, by the way, be dragged into that conversation, but think about a coach and a general manager and players that are dragged into that conversation. Do you think the coach really wants to sit around and talk about Colin Kaepernick taking a knee 2 years ago when he's trying to get a team ready to play? He just doesn't need that. Just bring somebody else in as a backup quarterback. But there are people out there, and the video has them. We'll get him fired up, and that's the purpose of it, to show that he's in great shape and he's ready to play. It doesn't matter. they'd all be dragged into it, including the general manager and the owner. They'd have to be talking about something other than football and focusing on something from other than football. And it wouldn't end with a news conference, a crazy news conference, by the way. That would only be the beginning. I mean, do you think Fox, CNN, MSNBC, not to mention ABC and CBS News, would leave after the press conference? They'd have to keep reporters on the scene. They'd be hanging around the Phillies camp. And they'd be asking for media credentials because they want to see how Colin's doing, and they want to make sure that they're there, and they don't miss a soundbite that he might puke out. And why would any coach want that circus coming to town, and then not only coming to town but staying there? They play another game next week. The Eagles do, and they would have media people dropping in all week looking to do a story on Kaepernick. They would just be coming in and out all week. And maybe they'd get the big quote or the big soundbite. They have to make sure they try to get it. And they all think that they would ask the one question that hasn't been asked. That's the way we idiots in the media operate. How long would it take for someone to ask him if he's going to stand for the national anthem before the Eagles' next game? Okay, because that's coming up. The next game would be coming up. They do actually play games. So that would be the big question. Colin, you got the game coming up. You're going to be on the sideline wearing that uniform. What are you going to do? Are you going to stand up for the anthem? Who cares? Well, why would the coach want that circus? And how long would it take for someone to ask him why he didn't, or how he's going to react when the anthem is played, and then go back into the story about why he did it in the first place, and hear that all dragged out again. And then there's that first game of the season, and instead of, the next exhibition game, instead of being just another boring second exhibition game of the season, and that's going to become a national spectacle. The game itself, a national spectacle. Everybody will be watching to see what the backup quarterback does when the anthem is played, and the media would watch every move he made on the sideline for the entire game. Remember that this is a team that's just trying to play a football game, and a coach and other players who are trying to play a football game. Why would anybody need this? And just the stupidity of anybody in the media who thinks that it would make sense for any team to bring this guy in. NFL head coaches hate distractions. Some of them consider sleeping at home in their own bed during the season instead of down in the locker room. That they consider that a distraction. Now maybe I'm cursed with having covered an NFL team for a long time, and that means I have zero patience for the people in the media who think that it's only right that some team gives this guy a chance. And when I say that, I'm talking about more the non-sports media, because they're out there. I guarantee there'll be people on this weekend saying that they saw the video. He looks like he's in great shape. They should bring him in. He looks good. Looks like he can play to me, as if that's the point. But I'm cursed with the knowledge of how that works. Here's the thing. The president said that he'd love to see him get a job if he's good enough. He's not good enough, okay? Now, there may have never been a quarterback good enough to justify the circus this guy would bring to town. Kaepernick made the decision to make his cause, based on a false narrative, by the way, which the media rarely are willing to point out, but he made his cause more important than the games. He made the decision to take the $600,000 per game that his boss was paying him, $600,000 a game he was getting, and they have a protocol. Here's what we do, Colin. We'll pay you $600,000 for the game. We'd like you to show up and hold a clipboard, and it has the plays on it. When we have another quarterback who's going to be, he'll be playing in the game, you're only going to be there in case he gets hurt. So what we'd like you to do is, put your uniform on, stand on the sideline, and then here's the thing. They play the national anthem, and, it's kind of a nice thing for people. They don't want to be, they don't come there for politics. They come there to see a football game. So I'm paying you the $600,000. Here's what I'd like you to do. Just stand for the anthem, okay? Don't kneel, because it makes the customers upset, and they're the ones who pay the big money to come in so that you can make the $600,000 that I'm paying you today to stand here. So would you mind just, kind of following the protocol? That's all. That's what they're asking. So he decided no, that he would take a knee. And so that made at least half the customers mad. I think more than that. Now, he's not going to play quarterback in the NFL again. He's 32. He hasn't played in 3 years. He needs to find something else to do. How about run for governor of California? Because he'd probably get elected out there. Or he could throw his hat in the ring with the rest of the Democrats running for president. And if he did, He'd be ahead of Beto O'Rourke in the polls by lunchtime on the first day. He'd have at least 1%. Beto's still trying to get up to that 1/10%. When we come back, we're going to talk about something different, but it's still kind of related to this. It's slavery, and it has nothing to do with the Civil War or white supremacy, but it definitely does have something to do with the NFL and the NBA.
You're a grand old flag, you're a high-flying flag, and forever in peace may you wave. You're the emblem of the land I love, the home of the free and the brave.
Miracle League of Moon's Mike McGoolick joins us. Mike, how's the new field house coming?
The building permit was issued. We have the majority of the earthwork done, and they should be pouring foundation pads in the restrooms over the next week or two.
Those restrooms are really going to make a big difference for athletes with special needs, aren't they?
The ability to be able to use a restroom has always been difficult. You see how little space there is or little accommodations are made for individuals with disabilities, but it's something that we can make a little bit easier for everybody.
From the field house to the ball field to the playground, it's really going to be state-of-the-art.
It'll be updated with ramping systems and different things so that individuals that have problems with their mobility will be able to get to the same spots that everyone else easily can get to.
And every dollar you give goes directly to the project.
Our board is funding all the administrative costs, so any donation from anyone goes directly to the construction of the field.
Let's make miracles happen. Give today at miraclesinmoon.org/donate. Sponsored by Robinson Town Center, a Zamias Properties entity.
Summer is here, and so are the bugs and other pests. Don't let your home or business be overrun this season with unwanted intruders. Forget about throwing your money away on those harmful toxic chemicals. This season, plug in pest free. G'day, I'm Scott from Plug In Pest Free. This summer, turn your house wiring into a hostile environment for rodents and other unwanted pests, effectively driving them out the safe, humane way without the use of toxic chemicals. Designed to last for years, it will save you a ton of money. Our bestseller, the Plug In Pest Free Pro, covers up to 4,000 square feet. Now that's fair income. The Pro comes with a 20% discount when you use promo code SAVE20. That's promo code SAVE20 for 20% off. Order yours online today at gopestfree.com. That's gopestfree.com, promo code SAVE20. Don't spray and regret, plug in and forget.
Warning, property protected by electric fence. Sharks sighted in water.
Warnings are truly handy.
Bridge out.
But you may not always get a warning when it comes to threats to your identity or the personal information on your devices. That's why LifeLock Identity Theft Protection includes Norton Security for even more protection. LifeLock uses proprietary technology to help detect identity threats, like your personal info for sale on the dark web. And Norton Security protects up to 5 devices from ransomware and other online threats. Plus, if you have a problem, our agents will work to fix it. Of course, no one can prevent all identity theft or cybercrime or monitor all transactions at all businesses, but having someone looking out for you...
Warning, minefield ahead.
...will help keep you out of danger. Join now and get 10% off your first year. Go to LifeLock.com and enter promo code TITTLE. That's promo code TITTLE for 10% off. LifeLock with Norton. More detection, more protection.
Driving is freedom. The freedom to keep moving, to control your destiny, and to choose your path. And now, that freedom fits in the palm of your hand. It's called Ford Pass, the only app that gives you roadside assistance, Ford Pass rewards, and now when you buy or lease a new Ford, earn points you can use toward flexible complimentary maintenance that gives you, well, more freedom. Ford Pass, built to keep you moving, built Ford proud. Visit your participating Ford dealership to find out about getting flexible complimentary maintenance when you buy or lease a new Ford and sign up for rewards.
Roadside assistance is included for certain Ford owners and available to everyone for a per-service fee. Ford reserves the right to change program details without obligations. Visit your participating dealer or FordPassRewards.com for program rules and restrictions. Ford Pass, compatible with select smartphone platforms, is available via a download.
The John Steigerwald Show, AM 1250, The Answer.
Maybe you've noticed that racism and white nationalism and white supremacy has been discussed a lot on your favorite radio station or cable network lately. It's been established as a fact by every Democrat running for president. and just about everybody who works for every other network other than Fox, that the President of the United States is a white supremacist. Elizabeth Warren tweeted this yesterday. She said, she tweeted, "Somebody asked me today if I thought Donald Trump is a white supremacist. I said yes." That was her tweet. I replied to that tweet with a question. Did anybody ask you if you were an American Indian? She hasn't replied to me yet. I'm sure it's coming, though. Hitler was a white supremacist. George Wallace was a white supremacist. So when you start stating as a fact that the President of the United States is also a white supremacist, you either don't know how someone qualifies as a white supremacist, or you should have started impeachment proceedings a long time ago, because if he's a white supremacist, he's bound to have done something impeachable by now. But those expressions and the word racist lost their power a long time ago because of overuse. The concept of a concentration camp, you may have noticed, hasn't been trivialized yet, but the liberals have it on its way for the same reason, talking about what's happening down at the border, calling that what's happening there a concentration camp. And then there's the word slavery. NFL and NBA players and some in the media comparing athletes who make $20 million a year to slaves. Here's Bryant Gumbel on HBO a few years ago talking about NBA Commissioner David Stern during an NBA lockout.
Finally tonight, if the NBA lockout is going to be resolved anytime soon, it seems likely to be done in spite of David Stern, not because of him. I say that because the NBA's infamously egocentric commissioner seems more hell-bent lately on demeaning the players than resolving his game's labor impasse. How else to explain Stern's rants in recent days? To any and everyone who'd listen, he has alternately knocked union leader Billy Hunter, said the players were getting inaccurate information, and started sounding Chicken Little claims about what games might be lost if players didn't soon see things his way. Stern's version of what's been going on behind closed doors has, of course, been disputed, but his efforts were typical of a commissioner who has always seemed eager to be viewed as some kind of modern plantation overseer, treating NBA men as if they were his boys. It's part of Stern's MO. Like his past self-serving edicts on dress code or the questioning of officials, his moves are intended to do little more than show how he's the one keeping the hired hands in their place. Some will, of course, cringe at that characterization, but Stern's disdain for the players is as palpable and pathetic as his motives are transparent. Yes, the NBA's business model is broken, but to fix it, maybe the league's commissioner should concern himself most with the solution and stop being part of the problem. And that's our show for this evening.
And I've always thought Bryant Gumbel was unbelievably good on television. Very talented, super talented guy, ridiculously liberal, but talented. And so he's talking about the boss wanting to keep the hired hands in line. Every place I've ever worked as a hired hand, which is every place I've worked, I've felt like the boss was there to keep me in line. That's what they do. They tell you what to do. You do what the boss says. I just never equated that with slavery. But a little more recently, here's LeBron James on HBO talking about NFL owners.
I mean, in the NFL, they got a bunch of old white men owning teams, and they got that slave mentality. And it's like, this is my team. You do what I tell y'all to do, or we get rid of y'all.
Yeah, I do what they tell me to do here, or they get rid of me. That's just, they tell me to show up every day and do a radio show, and I show up, or they tell me to get lost. Every place I've ever worked. When I worked at Giant Eagle, they said, you work 4 to 9 tomorrow. And when you're here, you can't drink, and you can't steal things, and you can't yell at people, and you have to be polite with the customers. And if you don't, we'll get rid of you. And that's pretty much how it works. So, slaves, plantations. A few weeks ago, the NBA decided to start referring to the people who own NBA teams as owners because I don't know if it was one player or a group of players, they decided that was that kind of had, it had the tinge of slavery there because owners and players, blah, blah, blah. So they don't call them owners anymore. I don't know what they call them. And William C. Rhoden, a sports columnist for the New York Times, wrote a book called $40 Million Slaves about black athletes. And then a few years ago, Adrian Peterson said this, it's like, well, show us. We want more information. They want to blank, going around saying this and that. Just open it up and give the information we want. If they have nothing to hide, just give us the information. But they know that if all this information comes out, the information the players want will be right out there for everyone to see. It's a ripoff. And then he goes on to say, he's talking about a lockout, I think, then. It's modern-day slavery, you know. People kind of laugh at that, but there are people working at regular jobs who get treated the same way, too. With all the money, the owners are trying to get a different percentage and bring in more money. They're trying to make money. That's how it works. And you get paid millions of dollars to help them make money, and you can leave anytime you want. That means you're not a slave. But so I hadn't seen that come up too much in the last day or, last few days. But I came across this story yesterday about West African slavery. And the headline is from Reuters. The headline is West African slavery lives on 400 years after transatlantic trade began. Now, there's all this talk about America has just sinned beyond redemption because of slavery, and there are people out there who think that the American South invented slavery. It was around for thousands of years before that. It was well accepted around the world, and not just whites enslaving blacks. It was the other way around. People were enslaved all over the world for thousands of years, and what the United States of America did was get rid of it, which is which you can't say for a lot of countries in Africa. And this is from the story. It says, as the world marks 400 years since the first recorded African slaves arrived in North America, slavery remains a modern-day scourge. Over 40 million people are estimated to be trapped in forced labor, forced marriages, or other forms of sexual exploitation, according to the United Nations. Africa has the highest prevalence of slavery, with more than 7 victims for every 1,000 people, according to a 2017 report by human rights group Walk Free Foundation and the International Labor Office. The report defines slavery as, quote, situations of exploitation that a person cannot refuse or leave because of threats, violence, coercion, deception, and abuse of power. And what came to my mind was, how would these people, how many people did they say here? 40 million people in some form of slavery? How would these people react to someone like LeBron James or William C. Roden, Adrian Peterson, and how would they respond if they were in a room when one of them compared what they're living, the life that they're living now, to slavery? Actually face a real slave and try to get some sympathy from them for this terrible life they're living over here because they're enslaved by an NFL owner. It's pretty ridiculous, and what I thought about was that we hear about everything that's happening on our southern border. We hear about people of color, and they're coming in here because they're looking for asylum. Now, I know that there's plenty of legitimate people who are legitimately looking for asylum and have legitimate reasons to be doing so, but I don't think they're coming from situations that are anything close to what I just described as going on in Africa. And if you read this story on Reuters, you can check it out. Just Google Reuters West African slavery. You can check it out and read these numbers and read what happens to these people. They think they're going for a job interview and they get kidnapped and sent into slavery for years. And so this is according to the Global Slavery Index. On any given day in 2016, 9.2 million men, women, and children were living in modern slavery in Africa. An estimated 400,000 people in the region were victims of forced sexual exploitation, accounting for 8% of all victims. And there are some countries, they have a list of all the countries in Africa, and the number of estimated victims per 1,000. In some of these countries, I have to say I've never heard of, like Eritrea, but 93 out of 100, that's one in 10 people is a slave in this country. So maybe these guys might want to take some of the millions they've made while being enslaved in the NBA and the NFL, take a trip to Africa, and maybe see if they could use their money to free some of these people and shut up about the problems they have over here. I'll be right back.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Police in El Paso, Texas say the Walmart shooting suspect told them he targeted Mexicans.
Detective Adrian Garcia said in an arrest warrant affidavit, Patrick Crucius agreed to waive his Miranda rights. It says Crucius emerged with his hands up from a vehicle that was stopped shortly after the shooting. His first words to officers were, "I'm the shooter." Crucius told them he had driven for nearly 10 hours to get to El Paso, and he was targeting Mexicans in the attack. 8 of the 22 people killed at the Walmart were Mexican nationals. Besides capital murder, federal prosecutors have said they are also considering hate crime charges against Crucius. I'm Ed Donahue.
On Wall Street, the Dow down by 90 points to 26,287. The Nasdaq dropped 80. The S&P lower by 19. And crude oil up $1.96 to close at $54.50 a barrel. This is SRN News.
Are you a stock or options trader looking for real trading strategies that you can use immediately? Hi, my name is Scott Bauer, CEO of Prosper Trading Academy, and I'm on a mission to become the #1 options coach in America. I'm a former vice president at Goldman Sachs. I have over 25 years of options trading experience, and right now I'm giving away my most famous options guide with over 20 unique options strategies that I use every day for free. You can't buy this guide anywhere. To claim your free options trading guide, simply call 855-892-2307 now and mention my name, Scott Bauer, and we will rush you the guide. Call 855-892-2307, and someone from my options team will help you get this guide in your inbox as quickly as possible. Call 855-892-2307 now and start learning to trade the right way. Call 855-892-2307. 2307. Prosper with options.
Stocks and options trading involves financial risk and is not suitable for all investors.
Dennis Prager explains where the left has gone.
There was a division last night between, I would say, close to communist left and socialist left. The claim that the Republicans have moved right, and it's not that the Democrats have moved left, is so absurd that I've never really addressed it. But the absurd is now the norm.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at noon, right before Sebastian Gorka at 3 on AM 1250. The Answer.
Are you worried that the next market downturn could rob you of your wealth and your security? Are you concerned that your lifetime may last longer than your life savings? You don't have to be. For over 30 years, Gary Hunt has advocated for strong retirement principles, helping families in Allegheny and Westmoreland generate more income while protecting their retirement funds. And Gary now offers retirement-minded savers and investors a free book so you can better understand what it takes to structure a more stable, secure, and confident retirement. Call Gary Hunt and request your copy of Income Allocation. 844-366-HUNT. That's 844-366-4868.
Homeowners love their Pella windows and doors, and we love how happy we made Susan from Sewickley.
I just have to tell you, this bay window is absolutely beautiful. I mean, it's fantastic. It really is beautiful. I mean, beautiful.
Can we install some happiness for you? Right now, get 50% off installation or 18 months, no payments, no interest. Call for your free consultation. We'll come to you. 888-78-PELLA, PellaPittsburgh.com.
This is Chris Abernethy of Abernethy & Hagerman. You don't want the government deciding what happens to your estate or how much they will take. At Abernethy & Hagerman, estate administration is the heart and soul of our practice. We have the experience to help not only plan, but administer your estate properly, to protect your assets, minimize taxes, and ensure that your inheritance gets to the ones you love. Decide for yourself. Abernethy & Hagerman. Legal help that lasts a lifetime. Visit a-h.law.
Community Bank. City Mission. #1 Cochrane. Highmark Stadium. Peters Township Community Center. Angelo's Restaurant. What do all these businesses have in common? Nello Construction. Design and build with one company. Nello Construction. Full service construction from the ground up. Renovation. Expansion. Nello Construction. The choice for business. See the projects. Begin the journey at nelloconstruction.com.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer.
Watch out for a weekend construction closure. This is Butler Street, southbound Route 8, the on-ramp to the Highland Park Bridge. That is shut down through the weekend for construction. Parkway East is very busy on the inbound side as you approach Wilkinsburg down to Bates Street, also 2nd Avenue to the Fort Pitt Bridge. Parkway West stacks up inbound from 79 to the Fort Pitt Tunnel. Earlier accident causing delays westbound PA Turnpike from the exit for Irwin up to approaching Pittsburgh Monroeville. That's a look at traffic. I'm Jenny Robinson.
AM 1250, The Answer. Weather.
Clear skies and comfortable tonight, dropping down to a low of 58 degrees. Tomorrow, looking at a beautiful start to the weekend with plenty of sunshine, comfortably warm with low humidity, high 78. Clear and staying comfortable tomorrow night, 56. Sunday, another nice day with sunshine mixed with some clouds, 81 degrees. With your AccuWeather forecast, I'm meteorologist Danielle Niddle.
This is the John Steigerwald Show on AM 1250. The Answer.
And now, it's time for The Jerk of the Week, starring John Steigerwald.
Yeah, we have a very, very close race for Jerk of the Week today. And you can hear them both on the same clip. It's a kind of a special deal for you. The first person you're going to hear here is Frank Figliuzzi. And he's a former FBI counterintelligence guy. And this is the comment he made to Lion Brian Williams of MSNBC the other day.
The president said that we will fly our flags at half-mast until August 8th. That's 8/8. Now, I'm not going to imply that he did this deliberately, but I am using it as an example of the ignorance of the adversary that's being demonstrated by the White House. The numbers 8/8 are very significant in neo-Nazi and white supremacy movement. Why? Because the letter H is the 8th letter of the alphabet, and to them, the numbers 8/8 together stand for Heil Hitler. So we're going to be raising the flag back up at dusk on 8/8. No one's thinking about this. No one's giving him the advice, or he's rejecting the advice. So understand your adversary to counter the adversary.
I know you're keeping your options open there, Frank, but as chilling as that is to hear, you're saying it is possible that someone who knows better is authoring or editing the words that show up and are read verbatim or are supposed to be read verbatim by the president.
Yeah, that's chilling. And by that comment, Brian Williams of MSNBC wins the Windows R Us Jerk of the Week award. Now, if you are on a network that's supposed to have some credibility, not to mention the fact that you are a former nightly news anchor, like one of the most prestigious positions in American journalism for I don't know how many years until he lied his way out of that job, how do you hear that guy say that and not at least say, oh, wait a minute, Frank, I mean, I hear what you're saying there, but can you expound on that a little bit? I mean, that seems a little bit, I don't know, is that maybe a little paranoid, or do you think you might be stretching a little bit? Not even a question. He just right away said, well, Frank, that must mean that there's somebody in there that's doing it purposely. So, Brian Williams, you know, the Fig Man might have won easily if Brian had, challenged him a little bit. But it's Brian Williams officially this week's Windows R Us Jerk of the Week.
The Jerk of the Week is brought to you by Windows R Us, Pittsburgh's premier exterior replacement company. Expert repair and replacement for windows, roofs, siding, doors, gutters, and downspouts. Why pay double? Visit WindowsRUsPittsburgh.com.
Well, I guess Joe Biden, would be and congratulations, by the way, to Brian Williams. He just nosed out that guy. Can't remember his name now. But he just nosed him out because it was an unbelievable statement by the guy in the first place. But I'm sorry. You're supposed to be a journalist. When somebody says something like that, unless you're like drunk or oblivious, or there has to be some explanation, because as your journalist, in your training as a journalist, that is anybody who's watching that, not even have to be a journalist, just anybody in the audience watching that, as you're listening to that guy say, that it's something to do with Adolf Hitler because he said 8/8. Anybody in America who was watching that had to be going, what's this guy's got, what? Hey, maybe the guy's telling the truth. I don't know. But it sounds absolutely insane to me. But the problem is, it didn't sound insane to Brian Williams. Why didn't he, excuse me, what was his name again? First name? Frank. Aaron's great. She just knew right away. I can't remember names. She told me in my ear. At some point, could you at least excuse me, did you say that you think that somebody in the White House, if not Trump himself, was using the date of the movement of the flag up and down the staff that's somehow tied to Adolf Hitler and neo-Nazis? I don't know. You never asked him. So he's a winner, and congratulations to him. But as I said, Joe Biden, he's getting beat up on Twitter today, by conservatives, who I think are wrong for the same reasons that liberals are wrong for this stuff. He's being called a racist because I don't know where it was, somewhere last night I think he said it, or maybe it was today. But just recently he said this.
We have this notion that somehow if you're poor, you cannot do it. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. Wealthy kids, black kids, Asian kids. No, I really mean it, but think how we think about it.
So he's being, people, the conservatives are looking for a way to jump on him to show that he's a hypocrite or to show that he must be racist because he referred to poor kids and white kids as though the poor kids were the black kids, and you know what they're saying. And this is again what I talk about here all the time is this overuse of the word racist. There are conservatives out there saying that this is a racist comment from Joe Biden. And it's not a racist comment. It might be a stupid comment. It was said off the cuff. It maybe didn't make a lot of sense. But him saying that does not make him a racist, which is someone who believes that his race is superior to other races, and he believes that his race should dominate all other races. That's what you're saying when you're saying that a guy's a racist for making a stupid, off-the-cuff remark that maybe he thought he was saying something else. It should be it should require something a little more serious than that to be labeled a racist. And Donald Trump's been living with it for 3 years, and the liberals do it to him, and the media do it to him all the time. As I mentioned earlier in the show, I mean, it's just an established fact that he's not just a racist anymore. He's now a white supremacist, which I guess is the same as a racist, but white supremacist is a word that you didn't hear for a long time. Long time. I've been around a long time. White supremacist is a word that has emerged in the last, 2-3 years, maybe less than that. And it's just not a term that was applied to anybody other than somebody like Adolf Hitler for years and years. But now it's the President of the United States. So leave Joe Biden alone on this one. He's an idiot. And here's another example.
We choose truth over facts. And so, folks, if you're interested, join me. I could use the help.
I choose facts over truth. Wait, or is it truth? I don't know which one I choose. Which I can't remember. Maybe it's both. No, I can't remember. Joe is a living, breathing gaffe machine. That's what he is. And he says a lot of dumb things, and he's also still the number one guy among the 20 or whatever number it is are left running it for president. And that's what you get. You got Joe Biden, and enjoy it because he's going to be around for a while. But the whole idea of just willing to pounce on somebody. Mostly it's pouncing on someone now for being racist. That's the most popular thing because that's the worst thing you can be. But it's actually not the worst thing you can be anymore because the whole idea of what a racist is has been devalued, so it's not as bad as it used to be because they're calling people. You don't have to be such a rotten person to raise to the level of a racist anymore. You have to say something stupid, and that you're automatically labeled. So they've taken the word almost out of the lexicon because it doesn't mean anything anymore. So leave Joe alone on this one. So. A couple other things here before we go. Steelers play an exhibition game tonight. I'll talk about that a little bit at the end of the show. But, you heard the story about the guy going on a stabbing rampage yesterday out in California. Actually, it was Wednesday. 33-year-old man from Orange County, 2-hour anger-fueled stabbing and robbing rampage. 4 people dead, 2 wounded. Well, yesterday the details came out, including that he is a gang member and a convicted felon who managed to serve a stunningly brief sentence for a long list of serious crimes here, according to the Daily Wire. He was sentenced to 4 years in state prison for 14 convictions for drug possession of a firearm, an assault weapon, and ammunition by a felon. Garden Grove's police chief Tom DeRay said this guy, Castaneda, had previously been incarcerated for possession of methamphetamine with the intention to distribute while armed with an assault weapon. Law enforcement officials told reporters on Thursday that recent changes, now this is what's the part of the story here, recent changes made in the California Assembly Bill 109, promoted and signed into law by Governor Jerry Brown, the Democrat, significantly shortened the felon sentencing. An older California law then enabled him to reduce his time served by about half, allowing him to, quote, earn a day of credit for each day served. Well, if I get sentenced to 50 years in prison, does that mean I actually am only getting sentenced to 25? How much sense does that make? We're going to sentence you to 10 years in prison. We'll see you in 5 years because we're going to, every year, every day. Come on. The result is that the violent gang member's prison sentence for 14 convictions lasted less than 16 months. He was in jail for 16 months. How long is these people who have been in for political violations and for campaign violations, how long are they going to prison for? Years and years, being put in solitary confinement. This guy gets 16 months for 14 convictions. And the suspect is a Proposition 47 candidate, one police source told the Daily Wire. And he said, in reference to a reduced sentencing law backed by then Attorney General, are you ready? Kamala Harris, and passed in 2014. So she thought that was a good idea, to give these people like him 1 day credit for every day served. The year the felon was first incarcerated, that was in 2014, and that's when the law passed, and she was Attorney General, and she was all for it. And the idea for Proposition 57 was to, quote, reduce jail overcrowding and focus on education and reform rather than straight punishment. See, I don't care if the prisons are overcrowded. I don't. I only thing I care about is whether you deserve to be there. Once you get sent there, if it's a little crowded in there, if you have to wait to use the shower, or I don't know what goes on in there, but if it's a little crowded, I don't care. I just don't. I don't care really. I mean, as long as it's not inhumane conditions, I don't want to hear about it. I don't care if the food's not that good. I really don't. The TV reception, I don't care how much you get on cable. I just don't. Here's a tip for you. Don't go to prison, okay? It's not fun there. I've been inside the state penitentiary, by the way. Not for anything I ever did, but to do a story, and you don't want to be there. You don't want to be there. So it says here that Governor Brown pushed for the jail reform and won, but then never set anything up on the back end. This is according to a source in the police, the state police, that talked to the Daily Wire. No facilities have been created for mental health or drug rehab, so now the police can't take people to jail, and they don't have any rehabilitation clinics to bring them to. The state has basically put the burden on hospitals, which are not equipped to deal with these problems. Brown made a lot more than one train to nowhere during his time in office. That's in reference to the train to nowhere that went nowhere, that they spent billions of dollars on, and they just stopped building it. After stabbing to death 2 men at his apartment complex, this suspect carried out what police say were random attacks on people at multiple locations. So this guy was only in prison for 14 or 16 months, whatever it was. 14 convictions, 16 months. And I don't know, that was a long list of stuff he had there. I'd say he was due for more than 14 months. And but Governor Brown and Kamala Harris, they're trying to be nice. And they want to be fair to these prisoners who go out and stab people. So I just don't. I'd like to see him stay in prison a little bit longer, okay? And maybe there'd be 4 people out in California who weren't dead today. We'll be back.
Recent storms have done a number on Pittsburgh homes and businesses. This is John Steigerwald. If you've had damage to your roof, windows, siding, or gutters and downspouts, you may be eligible to get them replaced or repaired free of charge. All you have to do is visit WindowsRUsPittsburgh.com for a free inspection from one of their highly trained appraisers. With over 50 years in home remodeling, Windows R Us is the area's premier exterior replacement company for roofs, siding, gutters and downspouts, doors, and of course windows. If damage isn't your issue and you just want something new, You'll love their no-pressure approach, no hidden fees, and one of the fastest turnaround times in the industry. Why pay twice as much with other companies? Visit the area's premier exterior replacement company at windowsrustpittsburgh.com. Mention STAG for an additional 10% off at windowsrustpittsburgh.com. That's windowsrustpittsburgh.com. Windows R Us, proud sponsor of the Jerk of the Week, heard every Friday right here on the John Steigerwald Show. windowsrustpittsburgh.com. We're talking to Rocky Blyer. He's involved with the Miracle League of Moon Township and the construction of a Miracle League athletic field. The fields are designed to make it possible for kids with special needs to play sports.
Every child, no matter what the situation, deserves a chance to be able to play, to compete, and have a place that's safe, takes care of needs, that's organized. This will be the fourth Miracle League field that will be built. Now we got 4 places to be able to travel, so it broadens the whole interest of sports. It's just terrific for our community to do that.
There's a buddy system I thought was pretty impressive. What's that all about?
Kids with special needs have a buddy, a child who's in school. It's like having an older brother or sister involved with you. So it's really good, and that everybody has human dignity of being able to participate.
The website is miraclesinmoon.org. Check it out, and let's help make this dream a reality. Hey, Rocky, thanks, and we'll be talking to you again about this project. Appreciate you coming on to talk about it.
Thank you for having me.
All right, man. Take it easy.
Thanks.
Rocky Blyer, and we'll be right back.
Imagine doing one thing that gives you an entirely different perspective about your place in the world. Think it would be worth it? Hi, it's Mike Gallagher, inviting you to join me for a 10-day Stand With Israel tour through the land of Israel in December of 2019. Come with me to get firsthand insight into Israel's fascinating past and promising future. We'll learn about the geopolitical, economic, and spiritual dynamics of one of the most fascinating places on earth. And you'll share experiences that will change how you view the world. Walk the ancient temple steps, touch the Western Wall, sail on the Sea of Galilee, pray on the Mount of Beatitudes. The list goes on. Return home inspired, renewed, and empowered. If you've ever dreamed of seeing Israel, this is your chance. Join me for a life-changing adventure to give you a renewed sense of purpose. The 10-day Stand With Israel tour, December 2019.
Get more details about the trip or sign up now to join Mike Gallagher and Dennis Prager on the Stand With Israel tour by going to theanswerpgh.com/Israel. What is a warrior? At Portersville Christian School, a warrior is more than a team name. Here, at their fully accredited K through 12th grade Christian school, just 15 minutes north of Cranberry, a warrior is taught to serve, to passionately model the love of Christ toward neighbor, community, and world. A warrior is challenged to learn as they develop a strong work ethic, achieve academic excellence, and cultivate a lifelong love of learning. And a warrior is trained to lead through Christian character and integrity so they can impact the world for Christ by their example wherever God calls them. So, are you a warrior? Discover Portersville Christian School, a fully accredited K through 12th grade Christian school just 15 minutes north of Cranberry, where warriors are made. At ourpcs.org. That's OURPCS.org.
You're listening to The John Steigerwald Show on AM 1250. The Answer.
So, are you woke? Because if you're woke, you probably want to make sure that you patronize woke businesses and woke companies. And so Daily Caller's come out with a great piece here by Ellie Gardy, who's been on this show before. It's the woke capitalism list. 50 times huge companies sided with the social justice warriors. And there's some really, actually I printed it out and it's like it's a long thing. It's like 20 pages or something. But there's 50 of them. So if you really want to get a really good picture of how ridiculous and insane the planet Earth has become, you just pick this up and leaf through it and stop anywhere. But the first one is the Electronic Arts video game that features a disabled woman fighting in World War II. Electronic Arts 2018 game Battlefield 5 reenacts scenes from World War II with a twist. Large amounts of the soldiers on the front lines of battle are women. The trailer for the game features a woman with a hook for hand-killing soldiers. The words white men and Nazi were banned from the World War II game's chat. So you can't talk about Nazis if you're going to talk about World War II. Somebody might get upset. Some other ones here. One of my favorites here. This made it as number 10. CoverGirl hired a male CoverGirl. I remember this. CoverGirl selected makeup artist and YouTuber James Charles as its first male CoverGirl. Charles, who currently has 15 million subscribers on YouTube, helped the company advertise their Blast PRO mascara. So, if you're looking for, and if you're a man, I know that you might still wear makeup because that's the way things are now. But CoverGirl hired a male CoverGirl, and Lyft is allowed users to select their pronouns. The ad says, Lyft is committed to LGBTQ plus equality and supports all expressions of gender identity. To help us get better at addressing you, we've added a range of optional pronouns to the Lyft app. We've also partnered with the National Center for Transgender Equality to provide driver's assistance with changing the name and gender designation on their driver's license. So, you're downtown. All you need is you want a ride home. You're telling me that there's someone who's in need of a ride home somewhere, died to the airport, back from the airport, and they're standing there waiting for the ride, and they're just hoping that the person who picks them up doesn't use the wrong pronoun. That's where you are in life. That's where the planet Earth is today. Geez, I need a ride, but what if he refers to me as something other than there or they or whatever you're supposed to do? So the Steelers play an exhibition game tonight. And just as a quick sports note here, my guy to watch all during the preseason, and I don't go to camp, so I haven't seen him practice, and I don't care about practice. But Dante Moncrief, I'm assuming he's playing tonight. I'm not sure, but he will at some point. He's the guy. I think he's going to be very good, and just based on the video I saw, and he played for some bad quarterbacks. So I'm looking forward to seeing him tonight. And then about 12 minutes into the game, I'll probably fall asleep because the 12th string will be playing. But I do want to see some of these guys get a chance to see what they can do. And I do want to hear from you on Monday. And Erin's going on vacation for a week. And she's fired for doing that, so she's not coming back. Thanks, Erin. See ya. Bye.
The John Steigerwald Show is a production of AM 1250, The Answer, and Salem Media Group.
Do you or your business have financial problems? Are you overwhelmed with debt? Then call me